Hi, Steve Mills here, and welcome back to my podcast. It's great to be back live talking with you and sharing some great ideas to grow your business, or at least I hope they're great ideas. Today I've got a quote for you. Let me just read it out. It says, "Standards are what define us. We are not the highest version of ourselves which we can imagine. We are the lowest version of ourselves which we can accept. Understand that you will do nothing to accelerate your dreams, but fight like hell not to breach your standards. As humans, we will do more to not lose something than we will to gain it." And that's the end of the quote. And I wanted to talk to you today about that, about standards and what you're willing to cope with. I hear so many times people saying, yeah, I will do. I've spent a little bit of time today on the phone and heard from lots of people, well, yeah, I was going to go ahead, Steve, but, it's a bit busy at the moment. Give me a call in another few weeks. And do you know what? Guess what will happen when I call them in another few weeks? They'll say something like, well, I'm really busy at the moment, Steve. Give me a call in another few weeks. And the bottom line is, I know you've heard that, and I know I've heard that for over 25 years from certain people. And the bottom line is, people don't have high enough standards. And I hate to say that because, I really do care about people and trying to help them. But the bottom line is some people just don't have high enough standards. They're not willing to do whatever it takes. And the truth of the matter is if you've not grown your business to the level that you want to, I'll give you an example. Let's say you started out in business, let's say a year ago. All right. Now, most of the people that I meet have started out in business a year ago tend to be people who have, reasonably big aims. They've left their job. Maybe they got made redundant, or they just got sick of working for that total idiot that they work for. And what they want to do now is to start working for themselves. And they have got big designs on where they're going to go and what they're going to do and how great things are. And all of a sudden, after anything from a few days to a few months, the shit hits the fan. I mean, it literally does. They realize that all of a sudden, this great business, this great job is not quite what they thought it would be. And it's not what they thought it would be because there's a lot more to it than they ever realized. It's not just about being good at whatever it is you do. It's about being good at selling and marketing and looking after the money behind everything that you do. There's a whole range of skills that you need that you haven't probably got. And if you're someone who, has started off in business and, you're perhaps turning over, 30, 40,000 a year and that, basically really pisses you off, then, you need to do something about it. Because you've been going now for however long, let's say a year, and, in another year you'll be doing about the same, and the year after about the same. And the truth of the matter is, if you're like a lot of people that I meet, they didn't actually start off in business to be where they are. And I tell you what, I'll include myself in that group of people. I'm doing reasonably well. Our business is a lot bigger than 30, 40 grand a year. But I'll be honest with you, it's not to the level that it would be or it could be. So I'm not really throwing stones here. My business, I'm working on constantly and never-endingly improving. But I, just like you, need to raise my game. I need to improve my standards. I need to look at each and every element of my business and decide how can we do that better. I need to, as it said in the quote, understand that you will do nothing to achieve your dreams, but fight like hell to not to breach your standards. In other words, what I don't want to do is to just be content with what I've got. Most people will do far more to move away from pain than they will towards pleasure. And that's part of the problem. You earn enough money to keep you going and be satisfied. And you know what? So many people will tell you, well, I don't know why you're not, satisfied. You're already doing well. I hear that a lot from friends and family. Well, you're already doing really well, Steve. Why aren't you satisfied? Well, it's like saying, back in my day when I used to play table tennis, you already ranked, 6th in England. Why don't you be satisfied? Well, I want to be number 1. I want to be number 1 in the world. Why would I want to be number 6? Why would I start a game called being in business in order to be average? That for me just doesn't compute. It's like there's no point doing it. The day I decide that I'm going to be average is the day I retire, probably, or certainly the day I stop running my business. Because why would I want to be average? Why would I want to be the same as everybody else? Why would you want to be the same as everybody else? Why wouldn't you want to be able to look at your business and what you do and how you sell it and how you market it and be really proud of what you've done and what you've created and the good that you do? So, I hope this podcast really is about motivating you to take action, really, rather than giving you actually any particular tools. But I think it's probably the most important podcast and the most important, in a way, tool I can give you. And that is, set yourself a goal, set a goal, and then look at what you need to do in order to reach that goal. Next step would be to measure what's working and what's not. And when you find things are not working, you need to change your approach. Because, as Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. And yet most people do that year after year. They carry on going to the same old humdrum networking sessions that they've always gone to, and all of a sudden expect to, grow their business by 90%, even though they only got 5 leads last year. 5 leads last week might be good. But, that's really my point. You've got to take action. You've got to raise those standards. You've got to know what you want, and you've got to put a plan in place in order to get there. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, to be honest, I want to help you. That's what I do. I've spent over 25 years working with small businesses, helping them to become more successful, helping them go from where they are to really where they want to go, assuming that they know where they want to go. If not, I help them to put a plan together to achieve just that. So, if you want any help with that, go to my website, book a meeting with me. It's it's no obligation, and certainly no hard sales strategies in order to get you to sign up to one of my programs. What I will do is ask you some great questions. You'll come back with some great ways of growing your business and a plan in order to get there. So if you want to know more, go to www.stevemills.co and book that meeting now. Thanks ever so much for listening, and I'll speak to you again soon.